gold in my neighborhood. All the old buildings stood, and they keep digging down and down, so that the cars can live underground. The swinging of a wrecking ball through these laughing plaster walls, just letting all the shadows free. The ones I wish to follow me, follow me, follow me. Please don't change. Follow me, follow me. Stay the same. I remember a winter's night, a kiss beneath the street lamp light, outside a barn at a record store, better than condoms for you and more. Now that our haunts have taken flight, and been replaced with construction sites, oh, how I feel like a stranger here, searching for something that's disappeared. Digging for gold in my neighborhood, for what they say is the greater good, but all I see is a long goodbye, a requiem for a sky blind. It seems I never stop losing you, as every day becomes something new, and all our ghosts get swept away. It didn't used to be this way, be this way, be this way. Please don't change. Be this way, be this way. Stay the same. Be this way, be this way. Without the light. Be this way, be this way. At the time. I've ascribed these monuments a false sense of permanence. I've placed faith in geography to hold you in my memory. I'm sifting through these wreckage piles, through the rubble of bricks and wires, looking for something I'll never find, looking for something I'll never find. Digging for gold in my neighborhood, where all the old buildings stood. They keep digging down and down, so that their cars can live underground. It seems I never stop losing you, cause every day becomes something new, and all our ghosts get swept away. It didn't used to be this way. 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 It didn't used to be this way.
Okay, so that's Gold Rush by the Death Cab for Cutie. Coming up is Zephyr Song by Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is a daily code kickoff. Doing some more Vue. No one's complained yet, so just gonna keep going. And hopefully you guys are okay with that. Yeah, Vue is cool. Vue is cool. Let's jump right in.
Can I get your hand to ride on this piece of leg to bite on? What a night to fly my kite on. Do you wanna flash a light on? Take a look, it's on display for you. Coming down all night today.
Okay, so we're in this section. Let's see. Does it say it here? No. It is a template syntax page. It's kind of like the page after the introduction and after the Vue instance. Just about done with it here. Gonna wrap up dynamic arguments, modifiers, and show a couple different ways to write directives instead of the V- format. Then we'll move right along to computer properties. which I think is where it starts to get a little more interesting. Yeah, and that's kind of the approach plan.
Fly away on a zephyr. I feel it more than ever. And in this perfect weather, we'll find a place together. In the water where we sense my emotion, all the world can pass me by. Fly away on a zephyr. We'll find a place together.
Okay, so last time we got a little stuck on overcomplicating a dynamic argument, but Nick kind of helped out and we kind of just simplified it. And so now, just to wrap that up, they say dynamic arguments are expected to evaluate to a string. By the way, this is like a dynamic argument here. The actual like event name here would be something dynamic, something that would change. And so they say, with the exception of null, the special value null can be used to explicitly remove the binding, and the other non-string value will trigger a warning. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm not really gonna worry about it. Meaning, like, if it's null, I mean, so like if you put a null, it'll just stop working as a directive, I guess, something like that. Dynamic argument expressions have some syntax constraints because certain characters aren't valid inside HTML attributes such as space and quotes. Yeah, we kind of saw that last time. And we have Jonathan joining. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Hey, are you interested in coding on Vue?
I teach a course on ESAS coding, and I'm interested in if in the future I could have my undergraduates join AgileVentures projects as part of a software engineering course.
Ah, yes, okay. So, yeah, that's a good question. I think the short answer is yes. I think we would welcome them, and we have several projects. Where do you teach, if you don't mind me asking?
I teach at MSU, which is a small university in sort of the middle of the country.
Okay, NSU. Yeah, I'm in Kansas actually. Or
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I assume you meant the United States.
Yes, yeah.
Good. So yeah, do you have any like particular questions I might try to answer?
Well, I guess my first course doing this with a new batch would be in the fall, so beginning in August or so.
Mm-hmm.
What would be my first port of call? Like, who would I talk to first, just to see if this could be a thing?
Yeah, I think the main person that could coordinate everything would be Sam Joseph. He goes by Tensaku on Slack. Are you in our Slack?
I am not in your Slack, no, but I can add myself pretty easily. Is that the same Sam Joseph who I believe did an introduction for the ESAS engineering software as a service book?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. He's a co-founder of AgileVentures.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's kind of around this week. He had the flu all last week.
Right.
And this week he was supposed to take off because I guess it's spring break. No, it's not spring break. His kids were off and they were gonna do something, travel or something.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, he would be the main person. I mean, I could probably answer some of your questions if you have more.
No, I just ended up here because let's see, the ESAS website, they've added a couple new new, I guess, exercises to it, and so I went to it for the first time in 6 months, and I was like, oh yeah, there's this AgileVentures group. Let's see what they're up to right now.
Yeah, well,
So,
yeah, technically, this is a session where we sort of coordinate what to work on, what we're gonna work on. It's sort of, how to describe it. So this is, we branded it the Daily Code Kickoff.
right.
So it's kind of like a Scrum. I assume, are you familiar with Agile methodologies?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of that. It's evolved somewhat, and officially, we're streaming to Twitch right now for like
Okay.
let's see, it's not very popular yet. Just one viewer right now.
Right.
Um, and yeah, this session has kind of evolved a little bit, kind of working through some Vue. Have you heard of Vue?
I've heard of it. I haven't taught it yet. I've taught a very simple, JavaScript and Node.js type course, but I haven't gone further than that into any of the frameworks.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, let me show you. This is our Slack here,
Right.
and we do have like the new members section, new members channel, where we point them to some of the projects when people join. And there's,
Okay.
just to address a little bit of your question, perhaps, is the type of projects they could work on.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of our more active projects, and these are the
Okay.
technologies. They are mainly Rails projects. It's actually, there's a good dose of Node and Elixir these days,
Right.
and a little bit of Python too. You said they'd be working on Node and JavaScript. Is that right?
No, so that's just as much background as I have in the area.
Oh, got it.
So it would be for a sort of a classic software engineering course, taught from the engineering software as a service book, and so they would be doing Ruby on Rails, and perhaps half of them would also have some JavaScript background as well.
Yeah. Okay. So that actually fits right in nicely
Right.
with the projects that we have here.
Right.
We do have a couple of other professors kind of doing what you're doing, that you're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have them in this channel here. Actually, I think they're called the beta sassers. And yeah, one of them is, I think both of them are in New York State, in universities in New York State.
Okay.
And yeah, I think both of them are currently running. Actually, I think there's even a third one for this semester, and I'm just not sure where that person is. I think it might be Susan.
Right.
And yeah, so yeah, we have plenty they could help to contribute. Would they be working on? Because I know that Armando on the at the Cal or Berkeley course, YEDX course,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of has them work sometimes on new projects. Would these be new projects necessarily, or?
So I've had them. I guess this is my 5th iteration of the course right now, and so far they've always built their own new projects from scratch, but I don't have any real external customers. So they just invent, classic little undergrad type projects that are interesting, but they're not learning the important, skills of here's a brand new code base, add some functionality.
Yeah.
So that's what I think being thrown into something like this could help them with, is just the experience of you don't get to build code from scratch each time. Often it's just learn how this code works and add fake features and fix bugs.
Right. And yeah, I think we could provide them with that. We also have some new projects. There wouldn't be at the level of like new projects springing up every semester.
Right.
But yeah, for example, I'm part of a nonprofit where we kind of work internally developing prototypes and products, and so there are like new projects being created at different intervals. Yeah, but not to the level of like where you would have, I don't know, 10 new projects every semester.
I'm only doing 5 groups, and it's 4 or 5 undergrads per group. So
Got it.
And it looked like you had about 5 Ruby on Rails projects going. So I think I could like assign one group to each of them and perhaps see how they do.
Yeah, we do have technically more that are, more less active. Yeah, this one here is for the actual website. This is for a sort of job resume matching app in Detroit. And this one here is affiliated with Wikimedia and Wikimedia Foundation. And yeah, this one might be a little bit of interest to you. It's kind of, so it's an app that helps like teachers and professors assign, instead of like typical papers that a student would write, they would actually update Wikipedia listings of topics, and it helps to sort of coordinate that.
Right.
And anyway, that's in Rails and React. Rails is the backend. SHF project is another kind of popular one. It's actually in sort of a Swedish, something related with dogs. I forget what they do exactly. Yeah. Local support is sort of a volunteer matching system.
Right.
And it's based in the UK. Those are the main ones. Oh yes, and this is a German one. We call it RFM for short, because I can't pronounce that.
Rundfunk mit Bestimmen.
Yes, that's way better than I could ever do. And yes, so the back end is Rails, and it's kind of like an app to try to redirect. So in Germany, they have funds that subsidize broadcasting and public broadcasting. And so it's kind of like a way to voice your opinion where you would like those to be redirected. And yeah, so I think those are the main ones there in Rails. And yeah, I'll just leave it right there for now.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah. If I'll send you, let's see. Well, if you just wanted to sign up on AgileVentures,
Sure. I'll go and do that right now while I'm thinking about it.
yeah, you'll get an invitation to the Slack, and just be sure to sign up, and we'll welcome you there and try to redirect you to the right resources. Sound good?
Sound good. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. What was your name, by the way?
Jonathan Hardwick.
Jonathan Hardwick. Yeah. Federico.
Federico, thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
for now.
Yep.
Bye.
Air leaks from a tire. The truth outruns your lies. You jump try, thinking it's over. Remember, sooner or later it's always shorter. Sooner or later it's always shorter. Sooner or later it's always shorter. I got a big
All right, guys. Shall we get back on track here?
resonates for sound. Fork metallic tongue, screaming with what it's found.
Let's see. Where was I? Right here, right? Yeah. So this is like what not to do. You see these spaces? Yeah. So don't do that. Don't, in dynamic arguments, don't add spaces, and yeah, I think those quotes are also bad. Let's move on there, though. Dynamic arguments have caused too much trouble in the daily code kickoff. Modifiers. This is like when you use event prevent default to keep like a form from submitting. They're saying you can use modifiers. So modifiers are special postfixes denoted by a dot, which indicate that a directive should be bound in some special way. For example, the .prevent modifier tells the on directive to call. It tells it to call this specific function. So exactly where you see a lot in single page apps, you don't want the whole page to actually reload when you submit, because when you click like the submit button of a form, that's the default nature. So you want to prevent that. That makes sense, right? And I don't think I really want to try to code that. I think I want to move on to the next section, so I'm just gonna move through this quickly. Got about 30 minutes or so. You'll see other examples of modifiers later for Vue.on and for Vue model. And so here's some other shorthands. So like the Vue.on, you can use the @ symbol. The V dash prefix serves as a visual cue for identifying Vue-specific attributes in your templates. This is useful when you are using Vue.js to apply dynamic behavior to some existing markup, but can feel verbose for some frequently used directives. At the same time, the need for the V dash prefix becomes less important when you are building a single-page app where Vue manages every template. Therefore, Vue provides special shorthands for two of the most often used directives, vbind and von. So for vbind, yeah, I wasn't aware of this one. It's, what is it? The shorthand is just to not use it, I guess. Okay. Shorthand with dynamic argument. Yeah. So the shorthand is just don't use it. So pretend it's there, I guess. And this is one I was aware of with the V on. So instead of this, you just use the @ symbol. So remember, this would be like, on click, on input, and then that dynamic argument there. They may look a bit different from normal HTML, but colon and @ are valid characters for attribute names. Oh, okay, so I guess that's technically the directive. Okay. And in addition, they do not appear in the final rendered markup. The shorthand syntax is totally optional. You'll learn. Appreciate it later. So moving on. Let's move on. Let's try to get some code done here. So yeah, computed properties. This is where it gets a bit more interesting. And yeah, I guess I'll jump in. In template expressions are very convenient, but they are meant for simple operations. Putting too much logic in your templates can make them bloated and hard to maintain. So remember, this is the template, or like the HTML that before it's rendered. And so rather than doing stuff like this, they're saying use computed properties. And so you would put it, it's almost, you can think of it almost like a method. But you wouldn't actually put like the method, the definition of the method, you wouldn't put it in here using the mustache tag in your template. You would just sort of call it, right? So rather than putting like the whole definition of some codes, some logic, we could have actually used this in a few last episodes with the dynamic arguments, and probably would have gotten that to work. I don't really want to revisit that though. I kind of just want to leave that because we were doing so well up until that point. Then we got stuck on that, so I kind of want to let the dynamic arguments examples die, if that's okay. So yeah, I kind of wish they were still doing the app 2, app 6. Let's see here, I'm just okay. So I guess I would just create, like, I think, what are we up to, app 9? And copy this. Yeah, app 9. Technically app 10. But let's just call it app 9. Okay. So remember that we have to sort of connect them like this. So this is the element that this Vue instance is attached to. So we're going with app9. So our data is message. So we're binding it here. And so that's the original message that's going to print out, I guess. Yeah, I guess once we run it, it'll do the whole operation. It's not like it's called or anything. We could call it, but I think I'll just let it run. So I'll just walk through it first. Almost done though. So the computed property will have reverse message. By the way, computed properties are also called, yeah, as you can see here with the mustache tag. So you have to be careful not to name them like the same. So this, we shouldn't name, we shouldn't name it message because this would conflict. And so you gotta be careful about that. And yeah, because as you can see, they're called the same way. Let's see, so the function is, you know, just, I think we used this once or twice before. We're just reversing all the characters. We're splitting them up by every single character, reversing them, and then joining them again by every single character. Yeah, just to switch it up, just so you understand this, let's like put like a dash right there, I guess. And let's run this. So this should be at the close to the bottom. Original message hello, computed reverse message ole with dashes. And so now just like take those out. Right there. And I guess just to show you that, so this is, remember, referring to this property, computed property key, I guess is more correct. I do want to try like could I do, I should be able to do this because I think within here we can, within the mustache tag, we can add JS expressions. So therefore we could also add like, hello, I am the message reversed. Yeah. Which is kind of the same thing here. Let me just remove this. And yeah, so we needed like a space here. But yeah, that's essentially that. What else could we do here? I guess just to distinguish, like here, we could say like, I will not be reversed, because it's just taking this message here, this data property, right there. You sort of access it by using the this. As it says there, this points to the VM instance, which is this one, or yeah, that one too. Assigned to there. Let me just run that. I think we have some more modifications, right, to do. Okay. And I'll add a space there. Okay, so jumping back. Okay. So they're kind of walking through it, right? Here we have declared a computer property reverse message. The function we provided will be used as the getter function for the property. Yeah, I mean, I saw that in the code, the getter function. Yeah, I guess it's just... So rather than like passing an argument, modifying, it's, even though it is doing some modification there, I wouldn't really call it like a getter function. I'm not sure why they're saying that. The function we provided will be used, as a getter function for the property. Okay. So almost just to retrieve the actual function. Not really related to the function itself. It's like to get reverse message. And we could console log that. I think hopefully that's clear. You can open the console and play with the example VM yourself. I guess I could do this. So remember, this VM is this one here, and we're accessing the reverse message. Notice that almost like how we don't have to say data here. When we say this, we don't say this data message. We don't say computed down here. We just jump right to the name. So yeah, so it'll do hello reversed on the console. I guess it'll just show it at the very bottom. So hello, let me see if I can do this. So okay, and this will just reassign the message. We're not even really dealing with this template at all. It'll reassign this value here. And yeah, I just realized that this will not be the case. I mean, we could do this, right? And then we'll console log the reverse message. So let's see that. There you go. That's kind of cool. Okay, so back here. Okay, so you can data bind to computer properties and templates just like a normal property. Vue is aware that VM reverse message depends on VM message, so it will update any bindings that depend on reverse message when VM message changes. That's something also to be aware of. Like if we had the actual app, like if we were running it locally on our computer, and like this HTML was actually, you know, like a web page that we were running, like a server, like a local host, or even just like a regular static HTML page. Every time that we modified either a computed property or a message or a data property, it would re-render the whole template, or I guess technically just the changes, right? And so yeah, if you're familiar with React, it's somewhat similar. So it just re-renders the changes every time there are some changes to the computed and the data properties, like reverse message or message. So that's sort of what they're referring to over here. And the best part is that we've created this dependency relationship declaratively. The computed getter function has no side effects, which makes it easier to test and understand. So yeah, let's get into computed caching versus methods. You may have noticed we can achieve the same result by invoking a method in the expression. Yeah, reverse message. So if this was a method, yeah, like this right here. And so let's see what they say here. Instead of a computed property, we can define the same function as a method instead. For the end result, the two approaches are indeed exactly the same. However, the difference is that computer properties are cached based on their dependencies. A computer property will only re-evaluate when some of its dependencies have changed. This means as long as message has not changed, multiple access to the reverse message computer property will immediately return the previously computed result without having to run the function again. Yeah. So it's saying, so sort of that it's implied there that if message does change, if we change our message somehow, like if we had like an input tied to it and we tied to that data property and we changed it, then it would rerun the whole computed property, the whole method again. But as long as a dependency like message, you see here it's a dependency. This isn't, so like more like up here, because this is the computed version. As long as this doesn't change, it has a cached version or like a saved version of like the result of running this. And so that's an advantage to doing it that way. Also, you don't have to run it within here. This also means that the following computer property will never update because data now is not a reactive dependency. Yeah, So it's not like it has no dependency, right? There's no like data that we're passing in or anything. And so, yeah, so let's run this. So it's called now. Okay. I think I'll just add it to app 9 rather than adding the new one. Okay, so let me show you.
The harbor sings through the concrete, like the highway rolls in your childhood dream. I'm a wild abandoned ray of heat, and I'm coming for you like a stampede. I'm coming for you like a driving rain. I'm coming for you like a storm unchained. I'm coming for you like a third refrain. In a heavy heart there's a sea of light, secret until dead of night, where the deeper meanings dare to fight. And I'm coming for you like a voice inside. I'm coming for you like a final round. I'm coming for you like a tempted hound. I'm coming for you like fury and sound.
Okay, so this is app 9. So, I don't know, I will not be reversed now. And then, well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens rerunning it within JSFiddle, right? If it actually caches it. So let's see. It's about almost 8:26 my local time. Okay. I think we got an error. We should clean up some of these errors. Yeah, because I'm not seeing it. No. Yeah, it's not there. Why is it not there? I think this is okay here. Return date now. That I think is fine. I don't know, should I take off the parentheses? I don't think that'll work though.
Stay up all night with the things you could do. You won't, but you might. The potential you'll be.
Yeah, actually that did work. And I think so. I don't know, let's try like get day. So today is Monday, so that should be 2. Oh, so actually, did I not do that right? Date now. Okay, so let me just run it twice here before I do that. So is that the same? This is like, I think is it second since 1970? Let me put that up here and rerun it. So here it is updating. I guess I need to find a way to actually run it more than once. So I guess if we update the data somehow, right? No, so we need to like tie it to like updating something, right? Update like on so what could we do here? So we need to get it to rerun somehow. I clicking on it, I guess I could do. Let me see if I can copy something quickly. Would this work? On click. Yeah, I wonder if I can actually do this. Will I change? Because I don't think that'll work. Let me just start and see what actually changes here. So I'm clicking on it, and I just don't know if I'm actually calling it there. On click now. Any suggestions? Okay, so the whole point of this is that as you call a computed method, computed property technically, I think, as long as it's not dependent on anything, like our message, it'll just call the cache value, right? So that's why they use date, because it'll be easy to see that changing. It'll be easy to see that hasn't changed when it's supposed to display the current date, the current time. And so I'm trying to call it, and show that it hasn't changed. but what I'm kind of stumped on is how to show the value of now when I click on it, right? Because I could do it with a dependency, right? That something that updates. Yeah, this is just some of the shortcomings of using JSFiddle. I should probably switch to. So, kind of have to wrap up. I kind of might leave that there for now, and if I have time, sort of figure something out offline before tomorrow's show. But I'm kind of maybe thinking of switching to. Let me see how far it is until we switch to the like CLI, which hopefully the Vue CLI. So let's take a look at the, as we wrap up, let's take a look at the notes here. So we'll kind of do this for a little bit longer, get into watches a bit, and do we get into the Vue CLI here, or is it all? It's kind of hard to tell from here. I mean, I guess we could just set it up anyway. Yeah, I don't think they actually just tell you. Yeah, but then if someone wants to join, it'll. I guess I could set up like a project that we could use live share with. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I think I'll leave it there for now. Yeah, I'll just leave it there for now, and we'll work on that solution tomorrow, possibly. So, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for joining, everyone who joined. I'll see you tomorrow.
You in the distance, I knew that you'd be mine. Am I moving back in time? Just standing still. I met a man with a broken back. He had a fear in his eyes that I could understand. I can't even shake the hand without breaking. I've been pulling on a wire, but it just won't break. I've been turning up the dial, but I hear no sound. I resist what I cannot change, but I wanna find what can't be found. I'm away in a tiny lost, like a demon in a doorway waiting to be born. But I'm here all alone, just begging. Pull me close and let me hold you in. Give me the deeper understanding of who I am. Yeah, I'm moving back again. I'm waiting here. I'm just pulling around, but it just won't break. I'm turning up a dial, but I hear no sound. I resist what I cannot change. Holding in your hand.